Welcome to Inclusion Revolution. This week we're very pleased to have joining us Sandy Sinnott, who's actually a coordinator for a very, very revolutionary program here in Nova Scotia. And again, as you know, at Inclusion Revolution, it's all about revolutionary ideas in support of persons with disabilities and to be inclusive of our whole community, of course. So welcome, Sandy.
Thank you for having me.
We're pleased to have you here today. Now, Sandy, you and I did a little bit of chatting before the show, of course, so you gave me a little bit of information to get me up and running. But I guess what I want to tell everybody, first of all, and have you tell perhaps, is what it is, this program that I'm talking about that is so revolutionary, that's really spearheaded here in the Halifax area.
Well, Tova, we're very excited about this program. It's called Rhythm. It's a DJ club for youth who are not quite fitting in, who are having problems, conflicts. They have to be 16 to 21 years of age, and they're going to come in for 8 weeks. They're going to learn how to scratch. They're going to learn to use the turntables, learn the software, and how to just get the basics of DJing down. So we're very excited about it.
Well, that's great. Well, it sounds interesting, but now that we've scratched that surface,
yep.
save the pun, or don't. But Rhythm, I'm just reading your information, so forgive me. Reaching Halifax youth through harmony and music.
Right.
It sounds pretty cool. So a DJ program?
Right. Obviously, for kids, the main thing is to get them in a program that they can be excited about, that's obviously very cool. And there's nothing being done like it anywhere in Canada, so it's brand spanking new. When we get them in there, we want to make sure that we can build on their transferable skills. So we want to build their self-confidence. We want to give them a creative outlet for anger management, just to build them up. And, you know, at the end of the 8 weeks, they'll be able to go out into the world and kind of be better people for it in the community.
Right, because obviously for someone who maybe doesn't quite understand the whole DJ thing, what I would think about perhaps, or more my mother might think about perhaps, is the idea of you go to a club, there's a lot of drinking, there's a lot of partying,
right.
Everybody's kind of getting in trouble, the DJ's up there joining the party, so I'm sort of thinking that kind of DJ. But
right.
really, I guess what I'm hearing from you is what you like or felt was really relevant was that the skills they learn
right.
to become DJs have a lot of transferable, you know, are very transferable in terms of in the workplace. And I assume you mean like in terms of improving their employability
That's
and
right.
so forth. Could you give me some examples of how you see that transfer?
Well, as you say, the main purpose is not to have 44 DJs at the end of this program. That's not what we see happening.
Hell of a party, though.
Yeah, oh, most definitely, most definitely. By the end of it, by building up their... Sorry.
That's okay. There's skills. I mean, we're talking about skills and transferable skills.
That's right.
So what I'm hearing from you is you want to get them the transferable skills in a way that is very appealing to youth today.
Absolutely. Yes,
right.
By giving them something to look forward to, they have to be accountable for. They got to show up on time. They sign a contract at the beginning of this saying that, okay, I'm going to be here, I'm going to do this. And by having fun, they will learn things, and it won't really feel like they're learning anything, if you know what I mean. And by the end of it, they will come out feeling more confident. They'll be more creative, and yeah, it will be beneficial for them for sure.
So how do you find somebody to teach DJing? I mean, like, there's a whole other element here. I know that you, being a coordinator with Reachability, I mean, you have an access to the community, a lot of different youth with different disabilities, as well as just what we call risk youth or at-risk youth,
Correct.
who might just be in tough situations, perhaps homelessness or dropped out of school. And I know that that's the youth you're really reaching out to because you want to provide them of these pieces, like this confidence you talked about and the transferable skills.
Right.
But how do you link up with, like, DJs? Are these like wedding DJs? Are these club DJs? I mean, what's going on the DJ side? What are the DJs saying?
We've got the three greatest guys. They're terrific. They're from Atmosphere Entertainment, and these are three really cool guys who are very excited about coming in. They wanted to do a program in the summertime, but we managed to hook up with them beforehand, and they are so excited. They have a terrific curriculum set up for the youth that are coming into the program, and yeah, they've laid everything out, and with the software that the youth are going to be working with, we've also arranged that the youth get to take a copy of the software home with them when the program is finished as a completion bonus. And the DJs also want to work with them on creating a disc that they'll be able to take with them at the end as well of their own mixed software, and something that they can be proud of, that they can say, look what I did, you know, this is really cool.
So what I'm hearing, and some of the things I really like, is that there's an opportunity to continue.
Yes.
Now, I also understand that one of the things you and I talked about before was that once somebody can DJ, there's an avenue into different bars and restaurants that perhaps you may not DJ every night.
Right.
But there's the opportunity to maybe look at other work in that field and using that as an opportunity to springboard and continuing the DJing, which I thought was a really interesting connection, because I don't always think about connecting the DJing with other opportunities in terms of just getting into a field. And I know the hospitality industry is one of those areas you were mentioning earlier that would be a really nice sort of segue for some of these kids to move forward to. So I'm assuming we're talking about unemployed youth and youth who are just not quite getting going.
Absolutely, yeah. These youth, they have to be. They're going to be unemployed. The ones that were sort of spearheading for this program, they can't be EI eligible, so they'll be coming in and they'll have different problems, different disabilities probably, and we'll be there to give them support, to help them with their anger management, and hopefully by the end of the 8 weeks it will. They'll work it out.
Now, I did a little research because I knew you were coming, and I did know that there was a program that was put on, like a pilot, the Toronto School Board did, for some of their, what they would call, again, at-risk youth within their school system. And again, one of the things that I thought was so interesting about it, because I wanted to look like I knew something when I came to talk to you, and one of the things that I thought was really interesting about it was the talk about anger management.
Yes.
And I'm not sure that everybody connects why a DJing might lead to a better management technique with anger, and I wondered if you could sort of share with me where that connection is, and I mean at least from your own understanding in terms of this program and what your goals are.
I think it's with that creative outlet, Tova. It's having somewhere for them, if they have frustrations, and because we all have frustrations, we all have things that we just, we got to work out, and now if they have somewhere that they can go and they can work on the tables, they can do their thing, and it's somewhere that they can work it out, and as well the DJs that we've spoken with said that there's no better way for them to, at the end of the day, if they get frustrated coming home from their quote-unquote day jobs, they come home and the first thing they do is get on the tables and they said it takes them away, and music does that anyway. So certainly with this skill, that will help them at the end for sure.
Well, as you know, I'm a big fan of any sort of outside-the-box thinking when it comes to, especially including those in our community who are at risk, because they're usually not the middle-of-the-road mainstream community with different disabilities or different barriers that they face, whether those are cultural or whatever it is. So I love the idea that this particular program crosses not just, I know that Rich Ability, although specializing in disability, is inclusive of disability rather than exclusive with disability in this program, and that's one of the things I thought was really nice too, that it's bringing different communities together, including persons with disabilities and those without, to work together. Because tell me a little bit about the layout. Do they work together? I mean, how does this really lay out? There
are 3 DJs that are going to be working, and there are 4 youth that work together at a time, so it's a very hands-on ratio. They get 8 weeks, as I said, that they go in about 2.5 hours. The first thing they do when they get together, though, is sit down and share a meal together. So we get something together for them, and they sit down and they talk, and it's sort of that sense of being a Maritimer, that's where the good stuff happens anyway, in the kitchen, around the table, right? So that's how they start every night together, is to sit down and talk, and how was your week, and what's new, and then they get into the DJing, and for about 2 hours they do that. At the end of the evening, they all come together. They help clean everything up from supper, help the DJs with the load up, and so again, that's part of their curriculum. They have to be responsible for helping with the absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. So you're feeding them. That's good, because nothing worse than a grumpy DJ.
That's
although I don't know that. I'm just assuming there's nothing worse than a grumpy DJ. There could be, but what I'm very pleased to hear about is a little bit about how you're integrating, some information. You're kind of sliding in some other things in terms of, just like you said, talking about the week, trying to make this like a place to go to.
For sure.
And of course, the meal interests me because I'm an eater myself. But I love the fact that you're being participatory from the point they get there and do the meal, from the point, like you said, they're cleaning up,
Yes.
and they're owning part of the process, not just getting to reap that benefit.
That's right.
And I think that's very interesting as well. So what I'd like to do when we come back is talk a little bit more about the curriculum, the goals, and really, again, why we think this is a revolutionary idea.
Okay.
So when we come back to Inclusion Revolution here on Eastlink Television, we're looking forward to speaking to Sandy a little bit more about rhythm, the idea behind such a creative program, why it truly is revolutionary to us. You can get more information, of course, from inclusionrevolution.com. We'll see you in a moment.